Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Friday. It's June 7th. It is 2024. We have a very nice 10-game MLB slate to talk about here on today's podcast. Joined today by my good buddy, Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, what's happening, my friend?
Nothing much, man. Doing great. Glad to come in with you and talk through this slate. And Steve, it's a 10-gamer on a Friday, so 2 to 3 games shorter than what we usually get, but we're kind of in full swing here. I think we got a good handle on the players, the teams, and kind of some of the new normalcies for this season. Definitely glad to come on, man, and just hang out and talk some shop.
Yeah, man, I am pumped. I took a couple days off, had some family stuff, and excited to be back. And always good to end the week with my good buddy, Mr. Chief. What's up, chat? Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday night and enjoying some basketball. But hey, we're ready to talk some baseball and get us started here with the Dodgers and the Yankees. Yamamoto against Poteet. 9 total pick'em game here. Any interest in Yamamoto?
Stevie, I've been playing Yamamoto all season. Do I think he's going to be okay? Yes. He could very well come out and get 25 fantasy points today. I can't play Yamamoto today. I got to let him sit on the shelf. I mean, I think he's fine, but I don't want to risk him against the Yankees today.
Yeah, I mean, he's pitched great. The Yankees are a pretty low strikeout team. He's 9,800. We have pitching options on this slate. I mean, I definitely get the concern. I mean, he is a 28.5% K guy. He doesn't walk people, doesn't typically get blown up. Ballpark downgrade for him going into Yankee Stadium. I would definitely put it as a downgrade. I mean, overall, I'm probably with you. I think it depends on like how many lineups you end up getting to, but like the top half just doesn't strike out. The bottom half doesn't really strike out, but they don't have as much power. I mean, overall, I don't see myself getting to Yamamoto on a lot of builds here. And I think he's a really talented pitcher. But I think this is going to be one of those spots I just kind of stay away from. On the other side of this game, we got Cody Poteet at 6,100. He's cheap in this one. I mean, he's off to a really solid start here in his first 2 starts. He pitched in April, came back in that like double header type extra person role. What was it, last week, right? It's like a week ago. And then I mean, now with what was it, Schmidt, right? Clark Schmidt got hurt, and so Poteet was the guy that gets the start here. He's had Cleveland, he's had San Francisco, 2, I mean, decent offenses. Any interest here against the Dodgers?
I also can't roster Poteet, man. Stevie, at 6,100, he's probably a lot more intriguing than playing Yamamoto at 9,800. For what it's worth, I will say this. I think if I'm running 150, I think I play him anyway. Like at that price, I think I consider it. But generally speaking, Stevie, anything for me, I think 20 entry max or less, I'm not playing him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's still, I think, kind of early to know like if he is good or not. But I think one thing that we do know is the Dodgers lineup is very good, and they're getting a ballpark upgrade going into Yankee Stadium. Even with the bottom half of this lineup kind of struggling, I think that the top half is still enough for me to be out on Poteet here. Let's talk bats. And I definitely, okay, so like a pick'em game. I think this is a pick'em game because of the offenses. I don't think this is a pick'em game because of the pitching. I think that we have 2 potent offenses here, 9 total. I think the game's a pick 'em because of the offenses, not the pitching here. I like the Dodgers. I love the lefties. I mean, this is a spot where Ohtani seems like one of the top hitters on the slate in this ballpark against this pitcher, Ohtani. Sign me up. Freeman, free money Freddie, back on the East Coast. Yeah, I mean, I think this is great.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with playing any Dodgers, Stevie. I mean, I think you can stack this team, up and down. Like there's just so many. It's so many ways you can do it. So I definitely think you include them. I mean, Jason Hayward, you can still play him now. He's still cheap, Stevie, 2,900. Like there's just ways to get creative with this team and still stack the top potency of this offense. So I'm with you. Definitely want to stack the Dodgers.
Yankees are interesting. Yamamoto should keep the Yankees ownership down. I don't mind targeting some power here in this Yankees lineup. Obviously, Judge has been one of the hottest hitters in baseball. Verdugo, Juan Soto, good spot for them. I'm not going out of my way to pick on Yamamoto, but I could see myself like chasing some home runs here for the Yankees.
I think I'm going to fade the Yankees today. So here's the deal. I respect Yamamoto enough to not play him, understanding that one of these Yankees probably takes him deep. So I think he can limit the damage enough. I don't think this is a spot where the Yankees score 10 runs. I don't know if the Yankees score 4 runs, Stevie. I'm saying it's possible, but I think Yamamoto is good enough to keep this offense at bay. And so I'm going to fade the Yankees today on a 10-game slate.
No, I completely understand the fade too. Like I think, a fade makes perfect sense when you're thinking of like Yamamoto being on the hill in this one. So, all right, moving on. We got the Cubs and the Reds, 9 total. Pick'em game again. Didn't plan that one. We got Steele and Lodolo facing off against each other in Cincinnati. Any interest here in Justin Steele?
I don't think I want to play him, Stevie. Like he's a good pitcher, I think, long term. I do think he's going to progressively get better, but he's seen this offense in back-to-back starts, and he's in the Great American Small Park today. I mean, we've seen. I think last time I checked this game prior to the podcast, Steve, it was like 8-4, 8-5. Like this is what happens in Cincinnati when it gets hot. So I don't think I'm playing Steele today. And I could regret it, but I think there's too much offense available in this ballpark with the weather starting to kind of flip over.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I don't mind targeting left-handed pitching against the Reds. I just don't think Justin Steele is living up to the hype this year. That one,
I think him being hurt to start the season has messed him up. For what it's worth, like I really think it set him back, and now he's kind of trying to get in a groove. Like maybe in a month and a half, he's like back, but I think that's what happened because he was looking good in spring training until he got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I don't have a ton of interest in Justin Steele today. And I will say, like, shout out to Jacob. He says, rare I get to watch live, but just wanted to say thank you to Stevie and all your compadres. I've listened since day one. And it's such a part of my daily routine to get early look for the slate. Hey, man, we appreciate you listening since day one. Over 8 years now. That's a commitment, and we appreciate it. All right, Lodolo on the other side of this game. I mean, he's had ceiling. It really hasn't shown recently. He's been getting hit a lot harder recently. This game's in the Great American Small Park. The ceiling's there. I mean, what are we doing here with Lodolo?
So, kind of the same situation, Stevie. He's also, so let me say this. If these guys weren't seeing the same team back-to-back and shifting to Cincinnati, I might feel a little bit differently about them. But I mean, Lodolo just saw this team on the second. Basically a back, like I can't do it. And I think Lodolo long-term, same thing as Steele, I think he'll be fine. But I can't do it back-to-back, start shifting to a hitter's park.
Yeah, I mean, like I talk about it all the time. I hate playing pitchers that just face like the same team, and both of these guys didn't pitch well the first time out, and now this game is in Cincinnati, which is a good ballpark for hitting as well. So I can't do it with Lodolo today. I get the reason why you would potentially take shots on him because he does have a ceiling. He does have decent strikeout stuff. Any interest here in the bats for the Chicago Cubs today?
Yeah, I've got a ton of interest in the bats, Stevie. This is a situation where I'm going to stack the Cubs up and down, and I'm going to live with the results. Like I know, they'll have some lefties. Like I know, they'll have Bellinger. I'm not sure if they're going to back Topman today. I don't know if he cracks the lineup, but I'm sure Happ will be in there. I like the Cubs, Horner, Christopher Morel. These guys, I like this team. They're pretty reasonably priced in a really good hitting environment with the young pitcher that we think will be good, but it's definitely not pushing the envelope this season with his strikeouts. Also due to injury, Stevie. That's another thing. Like Lodolo and Steele both injured, or both were injured. Excuse me. And I think they're kind of still trying to ramp up and get going here. I really like the Cubs today.
Yeah, so funny. On Tuesday, Keith is like, Morel is going to start hitting, and he's hit 2 home runs in the last 3 days because it was all Keith. We all, in Keith we trust. But yeah, he's great against left-handed hitter or pitchers. Suzuki's really good against left-handed pitchers. So a ton of interest in those two guys. Outside of those guys, I mean, like maybe a little mini stack. I hope Patrick Wisdom cracks the lineup today. Dude has big power. I'd love to see him crack the lineup in this one. Reds bats. I have a lot of interest in the Reds today. They're probably one of my favorite stacks on the entire slate. I do, like I said, I like them more against right-handed pitching, but I still think there's a ton of upside with like Steer, Candelario, Stevenson, Ellie De La Cruz. I mean, just a team that I love to play.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This is once again, I really like the spot, and you get India at 3,600, and while he hasn't been great, Stevie, starting to heat up. No surprise there. You get back into the Great American Small Park. You go from Coors back home, Stevie. I mean, now you're just keeping those bats warm, So I love this spot. Steer, Candelario, like all of them, man. Stevenson, you name it, Stevie. I think this is another really good spot. It's almost no different than Coors to me now with the weather heating up there, Stevie. So the ball's flying around. I know it's not exactly the same. Don't get me wrong, but it's such a good part for hitting. And I think you need to be stacking the Reds today. Probably one of those fun young teams that if they keep going, Stevie, and these pitchers get healthy, we might be hearing their names later on in the season in a year or two.
I think it's going to be fun to watch them in a couple of years. They're going to be a fun team. They're a fun team to watch now. I'm just saying, I feel like in a couple of years, they're going to be even more fun to watch. So, a lot of interest. Cleveland at Miami is where we go next. Guardians, Marlins, 7.5 total in this one. Allen and Weathers facing off. Guardians, a slight favorite. Any interest here in Logan Allen?
Oh man, Stevie, I wish I could. And I think he might be okay in this spot, right? Don't get me wrong. At 6,900, it could be worth it, but something's wrong here, Stevie, and maybe he needs to go down to AAA and work some things out. He's had some okay starts, don't get me wrong, but I think overall, he's just not pitching as well as we thought. However, this price leaves me intrigued. There's another cheap guy that I do like, or cheaper guy that I do like, that I think is a much better play. But if you said you wanted to play Logan Allen at 6,900, like, I don't think I'd hate you for it. But I don't think he's the best cheap play.
I don't think Logan Allen is a good pitcher. He really, really struggles with righties. But the Marlins are awful.
That's all this is.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I don't want to play him, but man.
Yeah, and like he has a little bit of strikeout upside. It's not like he is a 15% K rate guy. I think you could take some shots. I really do. I think you could take some shots on Logan Allen today. I'm guessing you and I are going to be interested in the same cheap pitcher that is in this range, and we'll get to him. But yeah, I mean, I think Logan Allen for the price is very much in play today. I mean, I have no issues taking shots on Allen at 6,900. Nice. Ryan Weathers on the other side of this game. Dude, the guy has been very consistent at being Houdini. The strikeouts have gone up. He's generating a ton of ground balls. He's not giving up any home runs. Tough matchup, right? Cleveland's a tough matchup. They're a little bit easier against, I mean, as far as like lefties are concerned. Good ballpark. Any interest in Ryan Weathers at 7,100?
I mean, Stevie, do we just roll the dice with Weathers because he's seen Texas, Arizona, Milwaukee, Detroit, and the Dodgers all back to back? I mean, we've seen 4 straight 20-plus fantasy point games from him. I don't want to play him against Cleveland, Stevie, but I think I'm gonna take the bait because of the recent performance and then watch this whole thing go up in flames. So this is not me telling the listeners to play Ryan Weathers. This is me saying I'm going to play him and let's see if this is real again. I don't think it is, but at 7,100, I mean, he's got more upside than Logan Allen, I think, for what it's worth. And that's why I think I include him in, because we're going to need some cheap guys to get some of these offenses.
Yeah, I think both cheap pitchers are from this game, and it's just more of like playing the ballpark a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to think about Ryan Weathers just overall, but it's really hard to argue like he's pitched well this year. Like his ISO is down to 132. It was 238 last year. His WOBA's down over 100 points. He's generating ground balls at a very high clip. He's doing it. Like, I mean, it's now at the point where like we have to believe in it a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to go out and get a ton of strikeouts in this game, but I expect him to throw 90 plus pitches in a good ballpark.
Stevie, even if he got 17 fantasy points today, I think we take that at 7,100.
Good price. We're gonna want to pay up for some bats on this slate for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk Cleveland bats.
I mean, look, man, you tell me you want to play Jose Ramirez, I say go for it. You know, you tell me you want to play Jimenez, I probably say no. You tell me you want to play Naylor, I probably say no, Stevie. You tell me you want to play David Fry, I say maybe. But I think this team is overpriced. So I'm not playing Cleveland today. That's basically all this is. It's got nothing to do with Weathers, everything to do with these high prices.
Yeah, the prices are high. I mean, Fry would be my favorite, but man, 5,700 for him in this ballpark is such a tough ask. And then even on like the Marlins side, I think you could play some Jake Berger. 3,300 against Allen is a really good price tag for Mr. Jake Berger. I love playing this guy against lefties. He's actually been like the one bright spot of this team. He's hit in 6 straight games. He has multiple hits in 4 of those 6 games. So I like Jake Berger a lot today. I think this is a really good price tag for him.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love that call, Stevie. And he's probably the ultimate one-off, if you will. I will say this, like, how do you feel about De La Cruz here? Because he's 3,400 too. And like, I think he's one-off worthy for what it's worth.
Yeah, but he's been so much better against righties this year. Like his ISO is it's like 70. It's so wild, like how big his splits are. It's like Otto Lopez too. Ever since Otto Lopez has been called up, like I've been chasing him against lefties, and he's been better against righties. Like De La Cruz's ISO is like 215 against righties. It's like 70 against lefties. So that's why we had interest in Allen. Like I want to take shots on De La Cruz is going to hit third, and like he has the splits advantage. But man, he has really struggled with lefties this year.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's my thoughts. But I'm having burgers for dinner tomorrow night too, so I got to play some Jake Burger today. All right, San Francisco at Texas taking on the Rangers, 7.5 total in this game, and the Giants are a 124 favorite. We got Webb and Lorenzen facing off against each other. Let's go, Mr. Logan Webb first here. 7,700 is a good price tag for Logan Webb. Any interest in him against the Rangers?
Yeah, I don't hate that, Stevie. Like, he's another guy slightly above these guys, but still cheap enough. You know what I mean? Where, like, does he get out of this game clean? Maybe, maybe not. But what we have seen, Stevie, the strikeouts have returned, right? Like, the strikeouts were way down earlier. Or when we say way down, I'm saying, he was hovering, not getting more than 5 strikeouts, and then it's just like something's clicked over the past, let's call it, month. So, and the strikeouts are back up. He's faced some good teams, Stevie. Cincinnati, the Dodgers, the Yankees, and he's pitched fine in all of those. So I don't have any reason to believe that he can't go into Texas, into Arlington, and pitch well at 7,700. He might be the best mid-range spin on the slate, Stevie. And so I'm perfectly fine with rolling him out at that price.
I mean, just a guy that consistently throws good innings, right? He's only allowed 1 home run in the last 5 games. So I just think like Logan Webb and like Seager matters. Like if Seager plays or not. I know they said that like it's a hamstring injury and it doesn't sound like it's serious. Hamstring injuries are always an issue. Like he can warm up and not feel like he's up to playing. So, I mean, if Seager's out too, I mean, that's just a bump to Webb as well. So I don't want to typically pick on this Texas lineup, but like they're not as good as they were last year. I don't necessarily hate this spot for Webb. I think it's a really good price tag. Michael Lorenzen on the other side, I kind of don't hate Lorenzen either. Like, if he could get his walks under control, he's gotten the home runs under control this year. It's just the walks are the biggest issue for Lorenzen. Like, I want to see who umps this game too. Like, if we get a pitcher's ump in this game, it could be a really good spot for both of these pitchers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you 100%. With Lorenzen, man, it's this leash, right, Stevie? Like, I mean, he's picked up the strikeouts too, but
they're like, hey, we don't care about your arm issues. Just go out there and throw.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's safe to go upper 90s pitches with a little bit of room to go over 100. I mean, I can't expect much more from that from a guy at 7,600. Like, both of these guys are for sure in play, man. I like these guys on this slate. They're only $100 apart, Stevie. I think Webb should probably be more like 8,300, but I'll take it.
Yeah, it's really hard to argue like how well he's pitched this year. And like, I mean, there was times we picked on this guy. I have like a sneeze in my nose that like wants to keep coming out and just it keeps going back in. It's so annoying, but I mean, there's a little bit of regression to like Lorenzen's numbers. Like his swinging strike rate is definitely not supporting what he's doing, but like, I don't know. I mean, he might just be excited to be out of Detroit. He's like, hey, I'm on a team that can win. But he's been pitching great. So hard to argue the upside at this price point. Any interest in the Giants bats?
I mean, I don't think so, Stevie. Like, and here's the thing. I don't think Lorenzen gets out of this game clean, but I don't think I need the Giants today. I mean, listen, you could always, one off a Conforto. Like, I get it. So if you said you wanted to do that, I'm not going to be like, oh, you should be playing Conforto. But I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, I mean, we eventually might get to some bats we like on the slate. I mean, we talked a little bit about.
We like the Dodgers.
Dodgers and that Reds game, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very heavy on those games because, I mean, it's a day that like you have the salary too, because I mean you want to pay down at pitching, but yeah, nothing really standing out for me for San Francisco. And man, I hate stacking against Logan Webb. He just doesn't give up a lot of home runs. Like he's such a tough pitcher to stack against because he generates ground balls at such a high clip and just doesn't give up home runs. It's like, how do I really stack against a guy, that generates ground balls at like a 55% clip?
Yeah, for sure. Same here. And I mean, you talked about Texas being good. I will say Corey Seager started heating up, and he kind of carried that through June or May, excuse me. But I mean, Stevie, scratched up again. So if he happens to sit, this lineup gets even more ripe for the picking for a guy like Logan Webb. So I'm kind of out on Texas right now. I want to see what happens with Seager and if he suits up tomorrow.
Boston at Chicago, the Battle of the Sox. We got White Sox, Red Sox facing off against each other. 7.5 total. Pick'em game. I know it's like a common theme on the podcast today. Yeah. We got Criswell against Crochet. Any interest here in Cooper Criswell?
Yes. I want to play him against the White Sox. End of discussion.
All right. He's like, that's my selling point. I'm not even gonna pitch it. That's what I got. So I'm on the fence on him. He's not like a huge K guy, and the White Sox do a good job of putting the ball in play. So it's gonna be like an ownership thing. If he's gonna be low owned in this range, maybe I take some shots on him. He's not my favorite pitcher in this range. I think he's okay. He's just not a huge K guy.
He is okay.
Yeah.
He's definitely not. He's definitely the blah porridge, but I think he can get close to 20 fantasy points in this spot if things go well. And that's why
he doesn't have the pitch count or like the strikeouts to make up for like a bad inning. Like, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm a very biased Red Sox fan. I watch a lot of Red Sox games. He's not a guy that goes out and dominates, and they have a very short leash with him.
He's definitely not better than Lorenzen or Webb. Like they're light years ahead at this point.
Chat's like, is that the first ever quick yes from Chief? Garrett Crochet, other side, 8,900. I think he is probably the highest ceiling pitcher on the slate. Like, if you're just searching for a ceiling, he has the highest K rate on the slate. Like, he's the guy you're playing for ceiling today.
Yeah, I think so, Steven. Boston has not been as good against left-handed pitching as they have against right-handed pitching. So Crochet is probably my big spend up today, Stevie, for what it's worth, in terms of if I want to go all the way up. Because I'm not playing Yamamoto today and I'm not playing Lodolo. Crochet is absolutely my big spend today for sure.
Any interest in the Red Sox bats? Are they going to limit Crochet? I mean, he threw 103 pitches last time out. I think, if anything, he's on a 6-inning limit more than a pitch count limit. So, I mean, you should get 6 innings out of Crochet. He starts to run out of gas towards the end. Like, he hasn't figured out, like, coming out throwing 100 is not as good as coming out and throwing 97, building up to 100. He does it opposite, but he'll get there. But yeah, if anything, they're going to limit his innings this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. My guess, Stevie, is if he's pitching well, they let him go. And what I mean by let him go is if he's at 85 through 5, but hasn't really gotten touched up, maybe he's given up 2 hits, a walk or something, no runs, they probably maybe try to let him complete the 6th. If he's through 5 at 82 pitches, already given up 4 runs, 7 hits, I think he's gone. That makes sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how they handle him here. Especially since they let him push the envelope a little bit.
And Gerg says he's on the trade block. I don't know if he's necessarily on the trade block, but I mean, it's been very well reported that the Padres really want Crochet. So we'll see how that all works out.
Well, they
Maybe
just try to keep Blake Snell.
Maybe
Even though he's getting wrecked this season.
Maybe they'll maybe if they pick up Crochet, he can lift the gutless rankings a little bit. Who knows? But let's talk bats. Any interest in the Red Sox bats here?
No, man. And I have been playing the White Sox some this week, Stevie, but I'm not going to do it against Crochet.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, Tyler O'Neill, he's back. He's just absolutely crushed left-handed pitching this year. Like, if you want to chase a one-off home run, that's who I would chase. I actually kind of have some interest in the White Sox today. I know it sounds weird, but I have interest in the White Sox. I feel like Chris Will's not this huge K guy. The White Sox are really cheap outside of Robert. And I mean, they're not bad hitters. They're not like these big power hitters, but they're not terrible. I really like Gavin Sheets. Paul DeJong is so weird. Like, he's hitting the ball really well. I like Robert. He's been absolutely crushing the ball since coming back. When he makes contact, it's hard contact. So, yeah, I mean, I have slight interest in the White Sox today. I don't think it's a full stack, but I definitely like them as a mini stack.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on Robert and Gavin Blankets. I'm in with him. And, yeah, I think those two for sure I would play as one-offs.
All right, we got Seattle at Kansas City. 8.5. Seattle's a 135 favorite. Miller and Lynch facing off against each other. Any interest here in Bryce Miller?
I don't think I need Miller today, Stevie. And he hasn't been like Miller's been fine. Right, so like I don't. This doesn't have anything to do with Bryce Miller. This is me saying, I think we've got cheaper pitchers than Mike Miller. Brad Miller, excuse me. Mike Miller was a shooting guard that played for the several teams in the NBA, but you probably remember him more for the Miami Heat. I just think they're cheaper pitchers that I would prefer to play, like Webb, Lorenzen, maybe even one other guy that I'm going to consider on this slate in that cheap range. And so as a result, I've got to trim the fat somewhere so Miller gets trimmed. But I don't think he's a bad pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, very right-handed heavy lineup, and that's kind of where Miller succeeds. I don't think I'm playing him today unless he's going to be very low owned. But he should succeed. I mean, he has the ability to succeed against righties, and like Pasquantino, Melendez, Isabel, like potentially the only three lefties. So maybe we should like him more in this spot. Cause like my original thought was I don't have interest either, but he has a 30% K rate against righties. So like he is going to benefit from all the righties in this lineup. It's just the top half is really good hitting righties. So it'd be an ownership thing on me for Miller. I don't think like the more I think about it, I don't think he's a bad play, especially when thinking about all the righties in this lineup. Daniel Lynch, I mean, there's just no chance I'm playing him today, even against this Seattle team.
Yeah, nah. Yeah, no way, sir. Look, if this was anybody else on this team, I may have, like, if this was Marsh, I might have run Marsh out there because Marsh probably would have been similar in price, Stevie, maybe a little bit more. No way I'm playing Lynch. I agree with you 100%. Not enough upside, even against Seattle.
All right. Oh, any interest in the Seattle Bats?
Negative. I'm kidding, Stevie. I love Seattle today.
I was going to say.
Especially if Lynch, hopefully we can get maybe 60, 75 pitches out of Lynch. Maybe we get to 80. But Seattle is starting to come around, Stevie. J-Rod is starting to hit the ball. We're starting to see some home runs come off the side of the bat. You know, I know Haniger hasn't really been hitting for crazy power, but I mean they're still fairly cheap because of how bad they played. If Garver cracks the lineup here, you've got Garver at 2,900, Stevie. Like, I just think, mixing and matching some of these cheaper guys with some of these big ones. Ty France 3,600. Like, I think there's great opportunity for this offense to get going here. Dylan Moore, 4K. He's been hitting well. So I like this team today against Lynch. I think they're gonna do some damage here.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have upside. I think Cal Riley is like a very good spend up catcher, has power from both sides of the plate, really crushes left-handed pitching. So, yeah, I mean, overall, a lot of interest in Seattle today against Kansas City. And then, honestly, I have some interest in Kansas City as well, like the lefties, but they just don't have a ton of them. Like Pasquantino, Melendez, I think are both in play against Miller, but I mean, it's not a stack. It's just targeting the lefties against Miller.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to play Kansas City today, Stevie. I think I'm going to let them sit on the shelf. But I totally get like playing Vinny P for sure. Like I get it, but I don't think they're going to make my list.
All right, moving on. Rockies, Cardinals. Gomber and Lynn, 7.5 total. The Cardinals a 188 favorite in this one. Any interest here in Austin Gomber?
No.
I think realistically, I think you can make an argument for him today. As bad as like the Cardinals have been against left-handed pitching this season, Gomber has pitched well recently, and I mean he did play for this team, so there's a little bit of driving force here. But like when he's pitched on the road, he really hasn't been awful. I think like you could potentially take shots on Gomber if he's going to be low owned in large field tournaments, kind of hoping for that really good game. He's 6,300, and he's somebody that's capable of putting up 20 plus points in this spot. So when you look at like the Cardinals and how good they've been, a lot of it has been like the lefty power bats. Nolan Arenado has really struggled with lefties this year. Paul Goldschmidt has really struggled with lefties. Big hit to this team with no Contreras out there. So yeah, I mean, I actually kind of like Gomber today at 6,300. Lance Lynn on the other side, and he gets a good matchup against the Rockies. But man, can we really play Lance Lynn?
I don't think we need Lance Lynn, Stevie. That's the issue, right? Like, but you've got Webb and you've got Lorenzen, and then if you kind of believe in Cooper Criswell today, like I do, I just there's not enough room for all of these cheap 7K guys. I would definitely be playing Weathers over Lynn, and I am going to play Weathers today. I just don't need him, Stevie. So I think he could get 15 fantasy points, but I also think he could get 2 fantasy points.
Yeah, I mean, I can see Lance Lynn scoring like 15. But I just not. I don't know if I could do it. Like, I get why you would take shots on Lance Lynn. The Rockies are atrociously bad. I get it. I get the reasoning behind playing them, or playing him. I don't know. Gosh, man, I don't like playing Lance Lynn. They can't even get like lefty heavy on him either. Lance Lynn could be a really good play today, and I don't know if I can stomach it. I've done crazier things, that's for sure. But yeah. And like, here's the thing. Like, who are you looking at the Rockies bats outside like Ryan McMahon and Charlie Blackmon? Nobody. I mean, they're just bad. It's just, I don't know. Playing Lance Lynn just sounds bad, like a bad idea.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not playing it though.
Any interest in the Cardinals bats here?
Slight, Stevie. Like, I mean, we've seen Donovan and a couple of these guys like start to kind of heat up here. So like I'm okay with him. Like Gorman, we've seen him heat up. I think a couple of these guys, one off, they're still cheap, Stevie, could definitely be okay. And that's where I am with this team. I think this is an alternate stack. I don't think this is a primary stack for me, but I do think I'll have some 3 to 4 mans of the St. Louis Cardinals today.
I hope Wynn hits leadoff today at 3,200. I'd have a ton of interest in him. I mean, you get Wynn, Arenado, and Goldschmidt all under 4K. So I mean, if you want to stack the righties up against him, I completely understand why you would here. So that's who I would look at for the Cardinals in this spot. Houston at LA taking on the Angels, 8.5 total in this game. Astros a 196 favorite. Valdez against Canning. Any interest here in Valdez?
Stevie, Valdez has just been so all over the place this season. Like, I don't think I'm playing Valdez today. And it's kind of the same thing with Lance Lynn. I think I have enough options out of the people I've talked about. Like, I don't think I need him. I'd rather play Crochet. Before I played Valdez today, I played Miller, for what it's worth, Stevie. So I'm not playing Valdez, and because there's another 8K pitcher that we're probably going to want to play. So there you have it. I'm not playing Valdez, and if he nukes the slate, he nukes the slate. But I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like, you know that song, like "Where Is the Love"? It's like, where are the strikeouts?
Yeah.
Like, where are the swinging strikes? And like the Angels are better against left-handed pitching too. So like, I hope he gets ownership today. I probably won't stack against him because he's a huge ground ball guy. But where are the strikeouts? It's just they have not been there, and the walks have been back. And I mean, he's had one really good game this year, and it was against Oakland. I'm not playing Griffin Canning on the other side of this game. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely not, Stevie. Griffin Canning.
Doing that. Like, I'll do a lot of crazy things, but I'm not playing Canning. I'll play Lance Lynn before I play Griffin Canning. Any interest here in the Houston Bats?
Love the Houston Bats today, Stevie. I'm probably Houston's probably my pod committed team. But I've been playing them for seasons and seasons now, and they just keep hitting, Stevie. They've kind of retooled this lineup. Shout out to my boy Michael Brantley. But, this team, Stevie, they've retooled with more low strikeout bats. Pena, Yannick Diaz, like this team does not strike out a ton. There's power in this lineup. Now, look, missing Kyle Tucker, if for some reason he doesn't play today, and I don't think he's going to play, that is a big hit to this lineup. But there's still enough, Stevie, to get this done. So I really like the Houston Astros here against Cannon.
I like the Astros a lot today. Gosh, this is a spot they should go off. Yeah. I mean, he's a guy, like, they just faced him like within the last month, and they're on the road here, so we're guaranteed the 9th. I'm going to load up on the Astros today. I think this is a good spot. I hope Kyle Tucker comes back, and I hope Bregman's back. But they did say like Tucker might not be ready to return to the lineup today, so we'll have to kind of see. And I think Bregman's fine. I think they just kind of scratched him to give him a day because his hand was hurting a little bit, but he should be back in the lineup today. Angels Bats, any interest in the Angels against Valdez?
I don't mind some one-offs here, but I'm like you, Stevie. I don't plan to just be loading up here. Like, if you want to play Taylor Ward, okay. If you want to play young man Kevin Pillar and hunt for his early power this season, be my guest. But generally speaking, I'm not loading up on the Angels here.
Yeah, I think if you're playing Angels Bats, you're playing Pilar, O'Hoppe, and Adele. They all hit the ball up in the air. I'd stay away from Taylor Ward personally because he is a ground ball hitter facing a ground ball pitcher. But I like Adele and O'Hoppe here the most in this one. Toronto at Oakland. Bassett and Harris facing off in this one. 7.5 total. Seems like a common theme today. The Blue Jays are 135 favorite. Any interest here in Chris Bassett?
Slight interest in Chris Bassett. Still, he's not a guy that I've played a lot this season, but against Oakland, Stevie, I think he's got a shot to go 7 innings here. And I think he can get 5 to 6 strikeouts. Limit the run damage, and I think we've got a 20 to 25 fantasy point game on our hands at 8,300. I'd for sure play him in a much better matchup than some of these other 8K pitchers.
The thing is, like, if Bassett gets a lot of ownership today, I can easily stay away from him. Like, I don't
agree
think
with that as
he's
well.
I don't think he's like this like lights out pitcher. I think he's a really solid option today. For what it's worth, I'm not poo-pooing on him. I'm poo-pooing on the fact that like it's a 21% K rate guy going to be chalky on a 10-game slate where we've talked about at least 10 pitchers that are playable today. So I think it's an ownership thing for me on Bassett. If he doesn't get steamrolled today, sure, take some shots on him. No one's going to talk you off of it. But if he is somebody that like he's going to throw 100 pitches, so like that's great. But I think it's just kind of staying away outside of that. If he's chalky, that's all. Hogan Harris on the other side of this game. Any interest in Harris here?
No, I'm not playing Hogan Harris.
Yeah, I don't want to do it either. I don't think I want to touch Harris today. Like Toronto has been the best against lefties, but they faced a lefty on Thursday. They're getting another lefty here today. He's unproven lefty. I know he struck out Tampa, but Tampa's really bad against lefties, so I'm not doing that today. I'm not doing Toronto. Any interest in the Blue Jays bats?
I mean, I don't mind going slight power hunting here. Like, you know, if you want to throw Schneider in there, Stevie, like, be my guest. I'm okay with that. If you want to play Danny Jansen, who's been hitting in the 2-hole, I'm okay with that too. Do you want to play Vlad at 47 or Turner at 34? Fine. I think this is a stack, Stevie, but once again, you have to remember, me in Toronto, for whatever reason, Stevie, I play them and you know, Hogan Harris turns into Hulk Hogan. And I think you should be playing Toronto today. Just know I don't know how many full stacks I'm going to have.
Yeah, I have a lot of interest in Toronto today, just because like we don't have a ton of teams that have some upside, and I think like this team has some upside, so I don't mind taking some shots on Toronto. I like Schneider, I like Jansen, I like Bichette, I like Turner. I want to play Vlad. I want to play Springer. They've just not shown a ton of power. Vlad did a home run on Thursday, so hopefully that he can get going a little bit. As far as Oakland is concerned, any interest in Oakland against Bassett?
No, I'm not playing Oakland, man. Not doing it.
If he gets like super chalky and you want to take some shots on like Blade or Toro, he really struggles with lefties. The problem is they're likely going to have a lot of righties in there. That's why we like Bassett. But I like Blade as like a one-off if you're not playing Bassett type of build, type of play today. And if they get any other lefties in there, like if Seth Brown cracks the lineup, I wouldn't mind taking some shots on Seth Brown here. They started Cameron righty on Thursday though. All right, we finish it out. Arizona at San Diego. Last game on the slate. 7.5 total. Again. Blue Jays, or just kidding. Pick'em game. Very slight favorite to the Padres here. King and Fott facing off against each other. Any interest here in Brandon Fott?
It's going to be an easy one, Stevie. Both of these pitchers are okay in their own right. I'm not playing Fott, and I'm not playing King because I'm playing the other 7K guys and 8K guys in this range. I don't need them against two fairly good offenses. I'm not doing it.
See, I actually have some interest in Michael King as a pivot off of Bassett.
I figured you would. I figured you would.
Yeah, like the tournament mind is going, hey, the Arizona Diamondbacks are not as good. And once every like 3 starts, Michael King doesn't walk people and he has strikeout stuff. Like he has the command that day and he pitches really well. Like King has ceiling, but his floor is very low. He's a huge component to striking out righties, which he should get like a righty lefty lineup. So he should get probably 4 or 5 righties in this lineup. So I have slight interest in Michael King. Ballpark downgrade. Put up 20 fantasy points when he faced his team earlier this year in Arizona again. So I think King's interesting. Like if you're not playing a lot of Bassett and you want to pivot, but I mean, there are plenty of pitchers on the slate that you don't have to take a guy against an offense that has talent. Any interest in the Arizona bats here?
Like I don't mind Marte. I don't mind like Jock, but I'm not planning to load up on Arizona either. But I don't mind the Jock one off for sure, and the Marte one off. I trust those guys to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, Carroll, his power is just not there. Like I don't know. No one kind of expected this season from Corbin Carroll. I feel like if he's hurt, he just needs to get it fixed at this point because he's not doing his team any good hitting 200. I like Peterson. I like that call a lot. Gary Ellis, someone I don't mind, even righty here. He's been hitting the ball really well recently. I keep talking about him. He keeps hitting. Any interest in the Padres bats in this one?
I don't mind the Padres, Stevie, but once again, Brandon Fox actually been okay. I think I would just be a couple one-offs, but nothing crazy here. Because I mean, most of the Padres' best hitters are righties, so I really don't like the Padres either. Like I don't know if they have enough upside to win me a slate.
Cronenworth at second base is fantastic today. 4,200. He has a 240 ISO against righties. When Fott struggles, it's lefties. So I like him. I don't mind, like, if you want to do like a cheaper, like Cronenworth, Profar, Peralta, like 3-man, like 4, 5, 6, like 3-man right there. I don't necessarily hate that. Peralta is like 2,200. I know his better days are behind him as far as hitting, but I don't mind the price tag for David Peralta if he cracks the lineup today. All right, let's play the morning grind game, and then we will get out of here. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us. If you haven't already, subscribe to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind YouTube page. Come hang out with us as well. All right, under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. We have options today. Who are you going with?
Let's see, Stevie, because there are a fair amount that I like today. Who are you going with? So I don't take that person.
I have 3 guys written down, so just pick whoever you want.
Yeah, I'm going with Webb.
Oh, I didn't write him down. He wasn't one of my 3 guys. I wrote down 3 guys. I wrote down Lorenzen, I wrote down Allen, and I wrote down Gomber. Those are the 3 guys that I had. Yeah.
All right.
So there you go. Over 8K to score under 15. Who is your bust today?
Give me Lodolo.
I like that call. That yawn finally came out that I'm gonna go Valdez. He just hasn't had the strikeout stuff. So if he has one bad inning, I just don't know if he's gonna catch back up. So give me Valdez as my bust today. Over 4K to hit a home run. Who's going yard today?
I think we've got a lot of options, Stevie. I think I'm going to stick in the Cincinnati game because I think this is going to be a big game. Give me Steer at 5,100.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that at all. I don't hate that at all. I'm paying down at pitcher today. Give me my boy Shohei Ohtani in Yankee Stadium and going deep against Poteet. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bat that you like today?
Well, Stevie, I talked about this guy a little bit earlier, and I like Ian Happ on the other side of this game at 3,800.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go to that game as well. I feel like Tyler Stevenson is just way too cheap for this matchup today. He's been expensive in cores. They brought his price way down today. So give me Tyler Stevenson at 3,700 to get 2 hits in this one.
Love it.
Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who is getting some stacks done today?
Getting out of that game.
Scoring?
Give me Houston.
He's like, I gotta get out of that game.
The Angels. Yeah.
Gotta get some hedge going on. I like the Houston call. Yeah, I mean, all right, I'm trying to get out of that game too. You know what? Give me the Dodgers. I'm paying down a pitcher today. I'm going Dodgers.
I get it.
Any player props or pick 'em plays that you like today?
Man, look, so as crazy as it sounds, I'm going to go with Weathers over 4.5. I know it's Cleveland, Stevie, but we've seen stranger things. I like what we're seeing from Weathers here at 4.5. I do like it. I think he can get there.
So what's funny is I really wanted to bet Weathers like over outs because I had a feeling it'd come in at 17.5. And they just juiced it so much that I don't even want to bet it.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
It's like,
yeah, you can get the strikeouts at I think minus 115.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Okay, it's not up. It was up. Watch Chris Sale's line against the Nationals. It's on the 6:45. Like it's a 6:45 game. Watch that line. Chris Sale should mow down the Nationals today. So check that line out when it comes out. Any other thoughts before we get out of here?
Negative, my brother. I was glad to come on with you and have some fun, and this has been fantastic.
Always fun, my friend. I'll be back with you on Monday, and then I'll be on the Tuesday podcast, and then I'm out the rest of the week next week. So if any volleyball dads are out there and going to Orlando Nationals, I'll be there all weekend or all week, really. I say weekend. It's like a 4-day thing. So excited for Nationals for my daughter. So hope that everyone has a fantastic weekend. We're road course racing and NASCAR this weekend. Excited about that. Posted quite a bit of player props on RotoGrinders and scores and odds that I like for this week for NASCAR. So check that out. Have a great weekend. Back Monday. We'll see you then.